Imagine standing in an ancient stadium, the air thick with dust and excitement. 50,000 people roaring as drums echo through marble arches. But this isn't just entertainment. This is survival. This is Rome. Welcome to Roman Legacy, where history speaks louder than legend. Today, we uncover ancient Rome's most brutal and inhumane arena spectacles. Stories so shocking, they'll make you question, was Rome the cradle of civilization or the stage of madness? Before we begin, tell me in the comments, do you think ancient entertainment was harmless fun or a reflection of human cruelty? The birth of blood games. Long before the Colosseum was even built, Romans already loved watching death. It all began in funeral rites, gladiator fights meant to honor the dead. But soon, it became something darker, a business of blood. By the time the great emperors rose, these games were no longer about religion, they were about power. Julius Caesar once hosted games where hundreds of gladiators fought for days just to win the crowd's favor. For the people, it was excitement. For the rulers, it was control. If you lived in Rome back then, would you watch these fights or walk away? Tell me below. I really want to know. The Colosseum, Empire's theater of death. In 80 AD, Emperor Titus opened the Fladian Amphitheater, what we now call the Colosseum. It was the biggest arena the world had ever seen. 50,000 seats, 80 entrances, and a maze of tunnels beneath filled with cages, pulleys, and death traps. Animals from Africa, lions, elephants, crocodiles were shipped across the seas. Gladiators trained to kill or be killed. Executions were turned into shows. And the people, they cheered. They demanded more. Even emperors like Commodus, dressed as Hercules, slaughtering animals, and sometimes even people, just to hear the crowd chant his name. Can you imagine your emperor fighting for applause while thousands die for sport? The madness of emperors. Some rulers took it even further. Caligula, drunk with power, once ordered his guards to drag citizens from their seats and throw them into the arena simply because he ran out of prisoners. Nero, obsessed with theater, turned executions into tragic art. He made condemned men dress as mythological figures and die in beautifully choreographed scenes. Even good emperors like Trajan, who built roads and cities, sponsored endless games where thousands of men and animals were slaughtered. Why did they do it? Power, fear, and the illusion of control. Do you think leaders today still use entertainment to distract people from reality, just like Rome did? Write yes or no in the comments. Let's see what you think. The spectacle of cruelty. By the 2nd century AD, Rome's games had turned darker than ever. They invented the venationes, animal hunts. Exotic beasts were starved and released into the arena, where men fought them with nothing but spears. Sometimes, condemned criminals were dressed in costumes and forced to reenact myths like Icarus falling from the sky, only to crash into the ground and die before a laughing crowd. Others were burned alive, crucified, or torn apart by wild animals, all in the name of entertainment. And the crowd cheered. Philosophers like Seneca begged people to stop watching, warning that such violence poisons the soul. But Rome didn't listen. The empire had become addicted to cruelty. In the persecution of Christians. In the early centuries, another group entered the arena, the Christians. Refusing to worship Roman gods, they were branded as traitors. Many were thrown to lions, burned alive, or forced to fight without weapons. Their deaths became public entertainment. And yet, their courage inspired others. Their faith, even in the face of death, eventually turned the empire itself toward Christianity. The same Colosseum that once echoed with screams would later echo with prayers. If you lived in ancient Rome, would you stand with the crowd or with those who refused to kneel? The fall of the games. By the 5th century, the empire was collapsing. Money ran out. The arenas fell silent. Christian emperors finally banned gladiatorial combat. The Colosseum began to crumble, a monument to human pride and pain. And yet, the stories survived. Stories carved into stone, whispered through time, warning us, when cruelty becomes culture, civilization dies. Ending the warning of history. Today, the Colosseum stands in ruins, a skeleton of glory and guilt, but it still speaks. It asks us to remember how easy it is for entertainment to become cruelty and for humanity to lose its soul. If you learned something new today, leave a comment. Tell me which emperor or story shocked you the most.
It's the mirror.
And don't forget, subscribe to Roman Legacy to keep exploring the untold stories, the forgotten empires, and the hidden truths of our ancient world. Because history isn't dead, it's waiting for us to listen.